All right.
Good Saturday morning. It's time for Clubhouse Chatter. Here's Norm Ordez.
That's right. It's another Saturday morning up here in the beautiful Eola Hills outside Amity, Oregon, up at Erickson Studios, or affectionately, as we like to call it, 98 Degrees Studio. And our first guest this morning is Ryan Carlson. Ryan is, I don't know, are you the host of Catdome alumni.com? Is that a good word?
I guess you would officially call me the publisher of CatDomeAlumni.com.
All right. And CatDomeAlumni.com is a fan page dedicated to all things Linfield Wildcat football. It is not, however, an official Linfield Wildcat page.
No, it is not associated or anything in terms of official Linfield football page. It's definitely a fan page that I created way back in 2006. And one thing I regret is the name, because it's kind of clunky. And if I could go back in time and change that, I probably would have changed it to something a little bit more streamlined, something a little bit easier to remember. But that's just not the way it went down. And I went with Catdome Alumni in 2006, and it stuck, and been doing it now for, I think this will be my 10th season doing it.
And for those of you who don't know who Linfield College is a Division III school in McMinnville, Oregon, NCAA, Division III, and they have one of the premier football teams in the country at the D3 level.
Yeah, absolutely. Right now, Linfield has 60 consecutive winning seasons, which is an all divisions record in college football in terms of having more wins than losses. I mean, that's pretty obvious for the past 60 years, and it's pretty remarkable. Linfield, way back in 1998, broke the streak in terms of they are tied with Harvard and Notre Dame at 42 years. And then they just blew that out of the water and haven't looked back. And not only has Linfield, had this winning streak, along with that, they've been a national caliber playoff team, an elite team in Division III football, where the past two seasons they've reached the semifinals of the Division III playoffs, and I think have accumulated over 20 playoff wins the past 10 years. So it's a really fantastic Division III program based in McMinnville.
So my Linfield story is I came to McMinnville in 1989, and I've always known about Linfield College. I've always had relatives that lived here, and I remember going to my first Linfield football game, and it was just blah for me at the time. Because, I was living in Palm Springs, and so I was used to going to UCLA and USC games at the Rose Bowl and at the Coliseum. And so, of course, there, you're talking 90,000, 100,000 fans. You come to small, at that time, Linfield was an NAIA school. And it was just kind of like going to, at the time, a high school game. But then you learn the tradition. And it's second to none as far as I'm concerned with the tradition. You talked about the 60 consecutive winning seasons, and I know, most people will say, well, it's at the D3 NAIA level that they did it at, but you still got to play the games. And if you go back and take a look at the records, there's, I think, 4, maybe 5 years of 5-4 seasons among that streak. And so
I believe there's only 3.
So 6-3, 7-2, 8-1s, a bunch of, a couple of unbeaten seasons in there, 1 loss seasons, and they've done it with class.
Yeah, absolutely. The one thing that's great about Linfield football is just the type of player that they attract. It's really a hardworking, blue collar type of young man that they bring in the program, and a lot of times the program pass on more talented kids that may not be a fit culturally into the program. They want to bring in a kid that's going to put the team first, obviously they're going there as a student to get a great education. But in terms of the football component, they're looking for someone who's going to put the team first and maybe have to sacrifice their own individual their own individual wants or desires for the benefit of the team. And so they've always done a good job at identifying that. And the core principles of the program were basically founded by, Paul Durham, which, he basically, his team started the streak 60 years ago, and then Ad Rutschman, who is a Hall of Fame college football coach, had, a huge bulk, 3 NAIA Division II titles, so many conference championships, and his principles is the foundation, really the heartbeat of the program. And the current coaching staff, Coach Smith, has continued with those same principles as the building blocks of his program. And, they've just been stellar under Coach Smith's watch, and they continue to be a national championship threat year after year after year. It's pretty remarkable.
Under Coach Smith's tutelage, they didn't get off to a great start. They had a couple of, rocky seasons compared to what Linfield football is used to. But now, I think one publication for 2016 has them ranked number 1 among D3 schools, and then another one has them, 5th, I think?
Yeah, you could slot. Being ranked number 1 preseason, it's a remarkable. It's incredible to receive that kind of notification. But until someone consistently beats Mount Union out in Alliance, Ohio, they're really the number 1 team in Division III. Everyone knows that, and so there's I think 5 programs right now that legitimately have a shot at the national title in this upcoming season, and Linfield is definitely one of those, along with Whitewater, Wesley, Mary Hardin Baylor, St. Thomas, Linfield, and obviously Mount Union, who's the perennial favorite, win the dang thing so many times. But Linfield being mentioned as the number 1 team by one publication is pretty great, and I think it speaks to the roster that's coming back this season and the number of weapons, both defensively and offensively, Linfield has coming up in 2016.
The Cats' schedule for 2016 is stacked. You've got I believe you got Chapman right out of the gates, and then they make that big trip down to Texas to take on Mary Hardin Baylor.
Boy, yeah, Chapman's a solid program. I'm not sure where they're going to be at coming into this season. They had some turnover, and they kind of struggled last year at the quarterback position. So we'll see how I'm sure that they're looking forward to getting back into the Catdome, which is the nickname of the home field for Linfield. They're looking forward to getting the Catdome and measuring themselves up against Linfield, and then it's a huge game number 2 for Linfield. Mary Hardin Baylor is an incredible program down in that's another program down in Belton, Texas. And man, like any Texas program, they take their football seriously. Their stadium there is the crown jewel in Division III. It's like a miniature Division I stadium, and it's Linfield's gotten the best out of them for the past couple of years. But we're 4-0 against Mary Hardin Baylor, but have had to really survive those games, and I know they're itching to get a shot at Linfield, and that game's going to have major implications on playoff seeding, and there's so many things that could happen, and depending on who wins that game. So it's a major football game. It's going to be in the heat. It's going to be in front of a raucous crowd. But why not? Why not go down there and play a program like that instead of some tomato can in week 2? So, let's go down and play the best and see where the chips fall.
Oh, absolutely. I'm pretty excited. Now, are you making that trip?
Oh, heck yeah. Oh, are you kidding me? I'm not going to get a chance to go down a day early to Austin and take in some beer and some food and some of the scene in Austin, and then drive north for an hour or 2 and up to Belton and taking the game. So I'm definitely going to make a trip of it. Why not?
So now you played at Linfield yourself, and what years were you there?
I was there from 1994 through 1998. So when I first came in, Ed Langsdorff was the head coach for the first year I was there, and then he resigned, and Coach Losey took over. So I was there the first 3 years of Coach Losey's reign as head coach.
And now Losi is up at Lewis and Clark.
Lewis and Clark.
And I'll tell you what, he's going to turn that program around, hopefully.
Oh, I don't doubt that at all. They have some unique challenges being at Lewis and Clark, just different challenges that you wouldn't face in any other program in the Northwest Conference. But, Coach Losi is a good man, and he's going to, work hard and diligently, and it already looks like they're bringing in some better talent, and I have no doubt down the road that they'll be definitely in the thick of it. So, Coach Lois is a great man, and is going to do a wonderful job while he's there at Lewis and Clark.
So where did the nickname Catdome come from? Do you know where that all started?
No idea. That's one of the great mysteries of the program, and you hear various tales of why, and you hear, and there's really knows. Maybe it goes. For a while, people thought, well, Linfield and PLU played a series of games in the Tacoma Dome,
right?
That were these hugely popular games, the Tacoma Dome, and so people were like, oh, maybe that was just kind of a play on the Tacoma Dome playing back at Linfield. Maybe they're playing at the Catdome, but some people said it was alive before that series. So I have no idea where it came from. It's kind of a shorthand way of saying, yeah, I'm part of the Linfield program. Something good happens, you just go Catdome, baby.
Right.
When you're on the road, you take the Catdome with you. It's just part of the Linfield football program is the Catdome. And yeah, we do not have a dome. It's
right.
not a dome, but it's home. It's just a way to say that you're home.
So the Northwest Conference is shaping up to be a pretty decent conference this year, and of course you got Willamette. Willamette will be pretty tough, I'm sure. Whitworth, I don't know where they stand this year. It's not an easy thing for the Cats to pull that one off anymore. It's there's teams that are closing in. Of course, Linfield is still the cream of the crop of the Northwest Conference. And how does that look this year, the Northwest Conference race?
Well, I think the team that's definitely on the rise is Whitworth for sure. They had a head coaching change, I think 3 years ago now, and they brought a defensive coordinator from Wheaton College, and he's doing a really fantastic job in terms of recruiting and hiring staff, and they have the full support of their college, and they're putting together a pretty good roster, and they made the playoffs last year, and they should be in a pretty good position to maybe, if they're going to challenge Linfield for the conference championship this year, and if they don't beat Linfield, they're probably going to be in contention for an at-large bid for the playoffs. So Whitworth is definitely a team that's on the rise, and Pacific's done a really good job of building their program quickly and is always in the thick of it. UPS is up a little bit. George Fox is still pretty young, but they're building things right there in Newburgh, and they'll be a tough team in the future. And there's not a lot of easy outs in the Northwest Conference, but that's what's funny about Linfield is there's all these solid teams in the Northwest Conference, but if you look at it last year, Linfield beat Northwest Conference teams by an average of like 39 points a game.
Right.
So it's pretty remarkable that we have all these really solid teams in the Northwest Conference, and Linfield just waylays them. I mean, just punishes them, and it's not an accident that the program does what it does. It's due to great coaching and the effort of the players that produce those kind of scores.
So the trigger man for the Wildcats is Sam Riddle, and Sam is on various All-American watch lists among college football. And what is he capable of? I mean, can Linfield? What does Linfield need to do to win a national championship this year besides staying healthy?
Yeah, obviously, you said health is huge. It's funny, because there's some of it's just matchups throughout the playoffs. So not only do you have to be big and physical and up front, but you also have to have incredible speed. Because you go against a team against like St. Thomas, and they're huge up front on each line.
Yep.
And then if you get past them, then you're playing against a Mount Union team that has NFL type speed. all over the field, especially at their receiver and cornerback and even linebacker positions. I mean, they're putting guys into the league every year, and so it's tough. So you have to have that combination of some physical size, but also you have to have game-breaking speed, and it's tough to find, and it's tough to find that right mix. But I think the guy, we have some tools, especially at running back and receiver, and Sam Riddle is easily an All-American type kid.
Right.
Since he took over the starting job and as a sophomore, there is no doubt that he's not only the best quarterback in the Northwest Conference, but one of the best in the country. And he's proven that in the playoffs. And teams know that Sam's the real deal, and he's the leader of the program, no doubt. He's a great young man. He's loved by his teammates, and he is our leader, unquestioned.
And so what I want to know from you, so over the years, Davin McNeil, I don't know if you know Davin or not, but Davin and I worked together with the McMinnville Parks and Recreation, and he's a former Linfield guy. And we were trying to figure out the best team of all time out of Linfield. And we kept going back. This is a tough one because we kept going back to 2004, the last year that Linfield won the D3 national championship. And we kept going back to that offense. I think offensively, maybe that was possibly the best team that's, come out of Linfield. I mean, you had Brett Elliott, quarterback, who was a D1 guy. You had Casey Allen, George Carter, Riley Jenkins. I mean, offensively, we're loaded. But I want to know all-around team. What do you think was the all-around best team to ever come out of Linfield, defensively and offensively?
I can only speak from since I've been around Linfield. I mean, I wasn't there during the 80s. I know there's a couple of teams in the 70s that were pretty remarkable. I didn't get to see them with my eyes.
Right.
So I can't really tell. But if easily since I've been around, it's 2004. I mean, it's hands down. I know that it was a pretty special group. I remember 2003, the team, they went to St. John's in the playoffs in the quarterfinals and almost beat St. John's, and St. John's went on to win the national championship. And the whole Linfield team was coming back except for our quarterback, Ty Matthews, graduated. So we had this whole group of guys coming back. But we didn't have, we had a backup quarterback that was pretty good, but then, later that spring you find out that Brett Elliott's going to transfer in. And Brett was a Division I quarterback. So we're like, well, how is he going to fit? Is he going to fit in with the guys? Well, Brett's an awesome guy, and he fit in perfectly with the team. And as soon as you saw that, that offense in camp that fall, you're just like, holy smokes, this could be pretty special. And, we played Western Oregon to kick off the year, and in that first game, you're just like, this could be pretty special. And the crowds knew it. I've never seen crowds so robust as the 2004 crowds, because
Right.
They all knew they were watching something pretty special. And it was a unique team. There were some injuries on the defensive side of the ball that kind of was bogging down the defense the first few games, but as soon as some guys came back later in the season on the defensive side of the ball, it was super well-rounded. You had a great running back tandem with Jenkins and Thomas Ford, and the receivers were ridiculous. You had George Carter, Casey Allen, and then you had Brandon Hazenberg and Brad McKechnie in the middle just slicing teams up. I mean, you just who are you going to cover? You couldn't cover them all.
Right.
Brett's release and decision making was so good, you couldn't get to him very well. And then, if you drop too many guys back, you give it to Thomas Ford, who was running a 4.5 40 with some moves, or you give it to more of a power back like Riley, and boom, there you go. It was just, it was almost unfair. And it was a pretty wild ride. And, Mary Hardin Baylor gave us a heck of a game in the national championship game, and that was a back and forth affair. But at the end of the day, the Cats reigned supreme, and it's the best team I've seen. And even though the past couple of years we've had some pretty remarkable Linfield teams, but 2004 was a special year.
Two games stand out in my mind over the years watching Linfield football. One was the 2004 thumping of Rowan, the Beast from the East, when they came into the Catdome and Linfield laid a beating on them, 54-0. I believe they had like 130 yards of total offense in that game or something like that. I mean, it was crazy.
I absolutely. I remember that game clearly.
And I remember being on the sideline, Rowan's sideline, because I was shooting video with Mike Rhodes. And he was working on some stuff. And I remember being on Rowan's sideline. And before the game even started, Rowan was talking smack. And, of course, Rowan is a proven program, back east. And they're the Beast of the East. They come into the Catdome. And, I mean, the Cats, right from the get-go, just laid the wood to them. And that was one of the all-time great beatdowns at the Catdome. The second, I think the best game I ever saw was the 2005 Wisconsin Whitewater game. And I remember I was in the gym up at Columbus working Parks and Rec basketball, listening to the game on the internet. And after I was done, I remember standing out front of the stadium, and it was like late third quarter, and I was trying to debate if I wanted to pay the $12 to get in to go watch a quarter of football. Well, I ended up anteing up and paying it, and it was the best quarter of football I'd ever seen. There was like 4 or 5 lead changes. You had Justin Beaver for Wisconsin Whitewater, and the Cats, I mean, Elliott missed Hazenberg off his fingertips at like midfield, which would have won the game. And that was probably the most exciting game I think I've ever seen.
Both those games are so memorable and incredibly special. And the 2004 game, I can remember being, there and seeing Rowan come out, and man, they looked the part. I mean, they were big, they looked physical. And I was just, like, holy smokes, how are we going to do against these guys? And like you said, the opening kick game, Linfield blew their doors off. I mean, Linfield was just faster and just had a better game plan. They executed perfectly, and they just wiped them out. Defensively just swarmed our quarterbacks into all sorts of bad decisions. And, Brett didn't even really play that good of a game.
Right.
That game, he had, I think he got banged up a little bit early. And, I mean, even with Brett not playing super, still being able to blow the doors off 52-0 was a pretty big statement game, and it was in front of a huge crowd. And it just all came together as a team. And it was pretty spectacular to see that, and that's something I'll never forget. And being a Linfield fan that was around during that time, you bring that game up, and all you're going to see from that Linfield fan is a big old smile come on their face.
Yep.
That was something pretty fun. In 2005, that was the best game I've ever seen in my life, any level. Pro, college, Division I, Division II, doesn't matter. That was special, and it stinks coming up on the wrong side of it. It still stings a little bit even to this day. It's like, man, if we had another 30 seconds, we probably could have, won the game. And it was definitely one of those situations where you just feel like time ran out.
Right.
And if Linfield had a little bit more time, they could have pulled out that win. But there was just so many lead changes. The crowd was just so into it. It was just every play had huge implications. The electricity in the Catdome was, at a level 10, and it was just special. It was just a special deal, and that was definitely one of the most memorable games. And I have to say, last year's Mary Hardin Baylor game, the comeback that the kids put on ranks right up there. But that 2005 game, Linfield versus Whitewater, was high up there. Just a special point. And you can find highlights of that game at CatdomeAlumni.com, Norm. So if you ever want to know.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, yeah. You do a great job with that, putting together the videos. And, I still think one of these days you need to use Prong's song, Snap Your Fingers, Snap Your Neck, especially the bass line from it. But once again, Ryan Carlson of CatdomeAlumni.com. Check it out. Linfield Wildcats are going to be an exciting team to watch this year. Sky's the limits with these guys. It's kind of fun
Absolutely.
going in every year as, a national title contender. Of course, we've got that big week 2 game with Mary Hardin Baylor. And, I mean, that's going to be just one of those knock 'em down, drag out fights. it's going to go either way. And hopefully, of course, the Cats come up on the winning end. Couple more questions for you. You know, let's talk about the family. And, you know, you posted something up, a video about the Linfield College program is more than a program, it's a family. Talk about the family aspect of it.
You know, you hear a lot of programs use the term family, and, you know, I understand why programs do that. They want to put out a message that, you know, hey, when you come to this program, it's going to be treated as a family. And but at Linfield, it's really true. It's a group of guys that are going to have your back, that are going to grow up with you, that are going to be your friends way after your college life. And you just think those you know, words are wind and whatnot. But when the death of Parker Moore really brought to light just how much of a family this program is.
Absolutely.
It's still one of the worst things I've ever been through as someone on the side, and seeing those kids just carry that pain and just be stung. And my heart goes out every day. I still wear my wristbands, and I think about Parker every single day, and his parents. You know, Doug and Julie Moore are wonderful people, and I can't imagine what they have to go through daily. But seeing the program come together, not only the current players, but so many players from the past, you know, reaching out, offering support, and then the McMinnville community really, you know, help prop up the Linfield community and the players. But, you know, it would have been easy for everything to fall apart, for kids to drift their own way, to just, you know, cash it in and give up. And it would have been understandable. It would have been completely understandable, and I wouldn't have thought twice about it. But they didn't. You know, they came together as a group, and they're like, you know, they decided that, hey, you know, if we keep winning, we can be together, and we can stay together as a group, as a family. And you know, they kept playing and winning and winning and winning, and they almost pulled it all off. And it was pretty amazing to see the bond and how close, you know, the program was, and the leadership from Coach Smith was remarkable. I still don't know how Joe did it, and it was probably the single greatest piece of leadership in action that I've ever seen in my life was during that time from Coach Smith. You know, he was he's a leader of men, and
Absolutely.
He proved it during that period. And I hope that no coach has to go through a situation like that ever. But it happened, and Coach Smith handled it with dignity and grace, and it was a pretty remarkable thing to witness.
It was, and that was my other question. You know, was, you know, talk about the glue of the program with being Coach Smith. You know, he is a leader of men, and I've known Coach Smith, you know, years now. Played softball with him competitively. Man, he is an intense guy, a competitor. He's got a heart of gold, and you know, Linfield and the city of McMinnville is blessed beyond belief to have him as the head football coach. And man, it was a, you know, the Parker Moore incident rocked McMinnville. I mean, it hit us all. You know, even not, you know, you didn't have to be a Wildcat fan, but yeah, you know, the letter that he wrote, because
it was just, it didn't, because it could have been anybody, you know, just minding their business, and it could have been, you know, a kid from McMinnville High School, or just a regular, you know, another community member, and to see, you know, see that go down was just unbelievable, and it still is unbelievable today. But again, the way that the program and all the coaches and Coach Smith handled it was pretty remarkable.
All right, so looking at this year's schedule, you want to make any predictions?
I'm not in the business of predicting, but
Perfect.
I'll just say this: if Linfield can somehow go down to Texas and pull that game off, if they can somehow get that done, you know, I think that the path is set to have another remarkable season, and have the table set up for home playoff games. But if Linfield goes down to Texas and drops that game, it's pretty much in playoff mode from there at that point on, because you can't lose any games in conference. We have to go to Whitworth and play there, which is going to be tough. So there's a lot riding on the line in week 2. So Linfield wins, I'm expecting pretty big things. If the Cats drop it, they're going to have to go in playoff mode, and if they reach the playoffs, they're going to have to put on their travel suit because they're not going to get many home opportunities.
Hey, they've done it before. They've put on the Stormtrooper unis many times and gone on the road and got the job done up until the semifinals, and so it's going to be an exciting year. And I can't wait for Wildcat football. And Ryan, hey, thanks for coming on the show.
Appreciate it, Norm. Yeah, thank you for having me.
Hey,
anytime.
And go Wildcats.
Go Cats.
All right. Once again, Ryan Carlson with Catdome alumni.com. Check it out. It's a great site. Ryan does a great job. Man, he's passionate for Wildcat football like I'm passionate for baseball. I mean, the passion is there. And so catdomealumni.com. Hey, you want to open up these packs now, Brian?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right. So
a little something special.
So I picked up some baseball cards over at Walmart. Meg, if you're watching, hey, I'm not sorry, but please don't kill me. I haven't bought any baseball cards lately. And so I'm going to give Brian a pack of the Bowman, and we'll open up the Bowmans first. And so let's see what we got. All right. And so we'll see what we got. And
Bowman's on top.
Yep. Bowman, here we go. So
ooh, looking for something special.
We're looking for something special. They're all special, actually. All right.
Ooh, I got something shiny in the middle.
Oh, I got a bunch of shiny ones.
Oh, okay. Adam Jones. Okay. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, former Hillsboro Hop Dansby Swanson, a chrome.
How about Felix the King?
Oh, there you go.
It's not a chrome, though.
No?
No, it's just regular old Felix. The chrome, however, is Ian Happ.
Oh.
From the Chicago Cubs.
There you go.
That's nice.
All right, let's see what else we got here.
It's amazing how cards have really come a long way.
Oh, I know, isn't it?
You know, there are some cool cards. I was going through, what year was it? The Topps Gold.
Right.
You know, they had the little mail-in thing, and they were nice-looking cards, but nothing compared to what we have today. You're not jumping up and down on your
oh man
heels there. Uh-oh.
I got a loaded one.
Oh wow!
So Oregon State product Michael Conforto.
Nice.
Okay, Oregon State product Jacoby Ellsbury, Madras kid.
Nice.
And one of my favorite, the sling, the what was it? The green bean slinger, Carl Edwards Jr. played for the Boise Hawks. We got to watch him a couple years back. And there's a Manny Machado in there and a Mookie Betts, but what do you got?
How many chromes are you supposed to have in a pack?
I think there's like 3 or 4.
Well, the first one only had 1. But I got Fernando Perez, chrome.
Nice.
Wai-Che Huang, chrome.
Nice.
His first Bowman card. Tyrell Jenkins, chrome. And yeah, then it just kind of drops off until a Jalene Ortiz.
Oh, there you go.
So 4 chromes in 1. It's not bad.
Right, that's not bad. All right, so our final one is going to be the Topps 36 cards, and so we'll see what we got in this one here. Got any music there? So I got the famous Walmart thing. You know, these things are kind of fun when you buy them and before you deactivate them, put them on people's shoes, put them on the ground and watch people step on them and walk out and they beep. It's kind of funny. Oh, let's see what we got. Giancarlo Stanton. There we go. Salvador Perez.
Boing.
So nothing exciting on those.
That's no fun.
Nothing exciting on those. I kind of dud pack on that one.
Wow.
All right, here we go. The final opening of this Topps.
Riveting radio.
Here we go. What do we got? Alex Gordon. Back-to-back. Josh Donaldson and Troy Tulowitzki. Ah, there we go. Craig Biggio. who could be in Salem Kaiser on Monday night. And I only say that because his son Kevin is on the Vancouver Canadians roster. So I doubt it. I highly doubt it.
Maybe
but
Craig doesn't have a
know.
passport, so this is his first opportunity to see his son play here in the States.
You never know.
I'm hoping. Get into my piano solo here.
Hey, Chase Utley, fan favorite.
Yes.
So there you go. So hey, we're going to be back. We're going to be back with our second guest. Who's our second guest? Our second guest is Veda Pinson.
There you go.
Who's going to talk about his dad, who played with the Reds among other teams, and talk about why his dad should be considered to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. And his stats are borderline, and it kind of raises a good question. Possible. I think it's very possible that he should be. And so he'll be coming on at 10:30. I'm Norm, that's Brian. We are sponsored by Baseballisms, baseballisms.com. If you like the shirt I'm wearing or the hat I'm wearing, you can find it at baseballisms.com. Also, we are sponsored by baseballdudes.com. Chris Gazelle up there in Vancouver, Washington. To be the best, you must train like the best. Skipper Mitch Canham of Base by Pros. Hey, they won the first half title of the Midwest League. The Clinton Lumber Kings. Congratulations to Mitch Canham and former teammate of mine, Cesar Nicholas. I was clubhouse manager when Cesar was in Lancaster, California. And so basebypros.com. His dad, Mark Canham, does our shirts for us for Clubhouse Chatter, MDM Designs. And we stream live every time we come on at yamhilltoday.com. Check us out. Hey, we're always looking for sponsors. normbro18@gmail.com. You can find us on Twitter, Clubhouse Chatter 1T, Facebook, YouTube, iTunes, MLB.com/blogs. Once again, that's Brian. I'm Norm. Hey, we'll be back at 10:30 for more Clubhouse Chatter. Stay tuned.